Hey there, welcome to another Slightly Rednecked video, this time for another quail update. I just did one a couple of weeks ago and got some changes going on here. I got some pretty good responses to the last video, so figured this is something everybody enjoys and I'll keep you updated with the changes going on. We're going to talk about moving baby quail from the brooder box to the growout pens, and I'm also going to be making some changes in my breeder flock here behind me. So stay tuned, we'll talk about that next. Okay, so first things first. These are my breeder cages right here, and I'm going to be making some changes in here, and I'll show you why here in just a second. Starting with the top cage, I've got 3 females and a male. The male is the white bird back there. I had quite a few of those white birds, but the A&Ms or whatever you want to call them. But I really didn't like them. You can't visually sex them like you can the other birds, so you got to stand around and wait for them to crow, figure out which one's a male. They don't seem to get quite as big as my other birds. And they don't grow out as fast. But I was willing to keep a couple of them around to just see how their genetics worked out and how they work out with the new chicks. So I kept a male. So I know that my white birds are male birds. Easy enough. This pen down here has also got 3 females and a male, and you can see the male all puffed up there in the front. He's right there on the side there now. So he's just a standard Coturnix quail. Easy to identify as a male. When he turns around, you'll see the rusty colored breast on him right there. And one of these little, I think they're called Italians, Goldens right here, which I think I'm going to end up phasing out eventually because it's just not quite as big as the other birds, and the chicks don't seem to be as big either. So the bottom pen only has 2 females in it, 2 tuxedo females right there and there, and a white male. Alright, so the changes I'm going to be making here. You notice I've got 3 females in each cage, 2 in the bottom. I usually keep a ratio of 4 females to 1 male, and I find that I get really good hatch rates out of that, really good fertility rates out of that. So what I'm going to be doing is mixing these birds up behind me, but there's a special way you have to do that. If I just go throwing a bird, one of the 2 bottom females in one of each other cages, that'll bring me up to 4 females per cage, then we're probably going to end up with some fighting. Alright, so I've got the 2 females down here. I'm not going to keep that rooster. He's going to go in the cull pile. I've got 2 other roosters right there that are full-grown roosters. Don't need them. I've just been hanging on to them until I'm ready to eat quail for dinner one night. Instead of culling them and sticking them in the freezer, I'd rather just keep them fresh. So that's what I'm doing, keeping them on the hoof, so to speak. So anyway, I'm going to move one of those females. Well, I'm going to take 2 females out of this cage, and I'm going to take a rooster out of the top cage and put that rooster with these 2 hens and 1 hen from the bottom cage down here. So I've got 2 birds that are familiar with each other, and then I'll have 2 birds that are new, but it should be enough newness that they won't pick on each other too much. And then I'll do the same thing with the top. I'll take the rooster from this cage, I'll move it up with 2 females from that cage, take a female from this cage, mix them in with that one, take 1 female from that cage, put it in this one, 1 female from that one, put it in that one. Hopefully that makes sense. Basically what it means is that 2 females from each cage will be mixed in with a new female and a new rooster. So hopefully that gives them enough diversity, enough newness that they don't just gang up and pick on one specific bird. I do have a bird in my flock that has been picked on. I'll show you. Yeah, you can see on this side she is missing an eye. She got it pecked out. They picked on her when I first put her in the cage and took her eye out before I could even figure it out. Now she gets along just fine with everybody now, and she gets along fine without one eye. Didn't really seem to bother her all that much, honestly, but I want to avoid that if I can. So that's my plan. I'll be mixing these guys up so that they're all unfamiliar with each other. Alright, so these babies are 2 weeks old now. Well, just a day over 2 weeks old. They've been in the brooder box up until last night. Last night I moved them from the brooder box into this grow out pen, and this is much, much better. It's got a nice small, wire mesh at the bottom. 1-inch spacing in the front that they can't get through, and I can switch over. It's much cleaner, much cleaner for them. They're not walking in water-soaked wood chips all day long, so much better. So far they're doing great, no problems. Now there's 34 birds in this cage right here, which is a lot of birds. Now it's fine with them right now because they're 2 weeks old. They all stay huddled together anyway. They're all raised together. They're all fine. They're not bothering each other. But within the next week and a half, I'm going to have to move some of these birds from down here, and I'll probably move half of them up to this upper cage. I'll call these 2 roosters along with one of the roosters from here that I'm getting rid of, and I'll move half the birds from down there to up here. So I've only got about 15, 16 birds in each cage, and that should last me until they're grown out pretty good. When they start getting pretty close, about 6.5 weeks, I'll take 4 females and a male, the biggest ones, from this group of grow outs right here, and I'll build myself a new brooder or breeding bunch down here in this cage, which will now be empty. So that's the plan anyway, and we'll just play that out and see how it goes. Alright, so that's pretty much it. That's my plan. I think it's going to work out pretty well. Stay tuned. Make sure to hit the subscribe button below so you get future updates. You see how things are working out here. Leave me some comments if you would. Let me know if you like these videos, these update videos I'm doing. What kinds of things you'd like me to cover in future videos. How often you'd like to see them come out. Some of those kinds of information. I'll do my best to make sure that I meet those requirements. So you guys are my audience. You're my subscribers. You're the ones that I'm doing my best to cater to. My goal is to help you out, to make you a little bit more self-sufficient, to be able to do a little bit more things for yourself so that you don't have to rely on other people to do it for you. So thanks for watching, and as always, God bless.